I'm Wolf from Healing Wolf Coaching, here to walk with you through the jungles of recovery. Saturday morning, sun is shining, weather's getting warmer in the spring. Let's take a deep breath of sunshine in through the nose, expanding our belly and our chest, letting it fill, and then slow exhale through the mouth. Today, I want to emphasize that a recovering person and someone who's locked or stuck in neuroplastic conditions like anxiety or chronic pain are going to think differently, they're going to act differently, and they're going to relate to the sensations differently. So look at the way you're interacting, you're interpreting, you're viewing your sensations. Sensations are only protective energy, protective and positively motivated energy that's coming through your body. If you feel like it's a negative, that's normal. We've been conditioned to notice in our bodies when things don't feel comfortable. And that makes sense. If you have an acute illness, if you've got like a broken bone, or if you're being attacked by fire ants, it makes sense. You get strong sensations and you move away from the fire ants. But if you've got a protective sensation like chronic pain, that's just a mistake, it's just a processing glitch in unconscious mind, then that's a totally different thing. And it's just intended, that energy is intended to keep you safe. It's intended for you to survive. And that's why the safest place unconscious mind sees is for you to lock into your home, to your bed, to stop going out, to stop sitting, to stop dancing, to stop walking, exercising, all the things that make life vibrant. And so people who have an illness or broken mindset stay stuck because the thought about the sensation is what creates more of the sensation. So it's the fear pain loop. The pain comes, the fear fuels into that. The adrenaline and cortisol and stress neurochemistry fuels that, moves back into that. There's a lot of talk when people are struggling with sensations about inflammation. The doctors want to test you for inflammation. In fact, the United States of America, we have huge amounts of inflammation in our bodies. I shouldn't say that everyone does, but the majority of Americans have a lot of inflammation. And it's because of a lot of factors. Diet creates it, negative thinking creates it, fear creates it, obesity creates it. There are all these different factors that come into inflammation. But the point I'm making here is that inflammation can be created just by thinking. Just by thinking. You think a negative thought, a worried thought, and you get scared and you have a flush in your body. Your unconscious mind wants you to survive, so it's going to give you more energy, more alertness, keep you awake all night, give you this anxious feeling. These sensations are meant to keep you alert or keep you away from any kind of perceived threats or predators, which usually just stuff in the mind. Claire Weeks makes a good point in one of her books about the way this develops, and she usually focuses on what she calls nervous conditions. She calls them illness. I don't. You're not ill. It's just a processing that's happening. So she focuses on the fact, or on her perception, that maybe there was something in your past that started this pattern of protection. Probably when you were a kid, you didn't feel like you were protected. You feel like your parents weren't really looking out for you, or you were bullied, or whatever. In my case, there were a number of situations like that. And so my little mind got wired up for protection, started giving me some sensations of pain, back pain. I had a lot of gastric pain as a kid, a lot of ear pain, a lot of issues like that, which were trying to get me protected, to stay locked down, to stay in the corner, to stay in bed, to hide, to get away. And so that started it. And then later in life, other things came in, stresses, and then the pain itself or the anxiety itself becomes what's fueling it. So all that stuff in the past, yes, it's helpful. I work with clients to clear those traumas, to clear those patterns. But what we're dealing with in recovery for the most part is recovery from thinking. It's recovery from thinking, and the thinking then feeds into the sensations, makes them bigger and bigger and bigger. Maybe you're asking, what do you mean? What kind of thinking? And thinking like you see someone who's in a struggle with these type of sensations, and they say things like, I can't go on with this. I can't live this way. I can't go into public. There are all these can'ts, all these negatives that build up. And when they're saying I can't, what they're saying is like, I fear doing that. And so mind begins to build a fear response to that because it's pre-programmed. So if you say, I'm afraid to go drive, and you're telling people, oh, I can't come to visit you because I'm afraid to drive, or I can't sit, or I can't drive, or that's going to be too much for me. I have a condition. I have whatever you want to call it. People use a lot of negative language around it, but it's the thinking that keeps it alive, that keeps it that way, right? So if you had the Easter Bunny, for example, and you didn't talk about the Easter Bunny, you didn't tell the children the story of about the Easter Bunny. I don't even know if there is a real story. The bunny comes in the night and hops around, leaves a bunch of candy, whatever. But you got to reinforce that the Easter Bunny, you got to reinforce it, just like you reinforce pain sensations by talking about them, by telling people about them. That's why one of the biggest rules, if you will, or guidances or suggestions, but it's a very firm suggestion from every competent coach, is don't talk about the sensations. If your thoughts are giving them power, you want to pull that power back and say, I'm strong, I'm recovered, I'm recovering, I'm moving through these sensations. Yeah, I can drive. Say things like that. I can drive. If driving has been something that's been a trigger in the past, I can drive. Say it, feel it. Lie down if you need to and visualize it. Visualize the whole drive. You're driving somewhere. You're going to a specific park and you're going through each light, seeing other cars around you. You're smelling the scents of the rose garden you're driving past. You stop at a light. There's roses in the bush there. You're smelling them. Smell some exhaust. All that kind of stuff with driving. You're bringing it into your realm of probability. You got this realm of probability. So it's all about thinking. When we think and when we speak and when we act, when we think about it, if you think about something, it's okay if there's still a fear of doing something, right? You're afraid to go hang out in a big crowd, right? Okay, that's ancient. It's programmed in from war, from public executions, all this kind of stuff. And a very real possibility in the past, and even right now in the present in some countries. So that makes sense. But when you say, oh, I can't go there, there's so many people, it builds that predictive coding that the mind begins to see that as a threat even more when you think that way. And when you act that way and you avoid it, when you go out of your way to not go do it, then that sends the signal too. Then when you talk about it, when you say to somebody, to a friend, you get on the phone, oh, my life is so hard. Oh, this is so hard because I can't go be around a crowd. And how can I live like this? There's all this negativity coming in. You're posting on Facebook. What you resist, what you complain about becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is really a thinking issue. It's not an illness. It's thinking and it's work. And that's where we're going to work on it. We're going to work on it thinking. We're going to work on visualizing. We're going to work on expectations. And that's where we chip away at it. That's where we make the progress towards the huge leap. The huge leap is also available to you. some call it flooding, where you jump into that situation. So with the example that I used, if it's a crowd and you have anxiety, there's a big crowd. What do? You go out of your way to be in a crowd. You go out of your way to do it. Claire Weeks had a great example in her book where she was talking about a person says, oh, well, when I'm in a crowded indoor space, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a big group of people, I have so much anxiety, so much sensation. But when I step outside, I'm okay. And she made the case that the person is the same in all aspects except the way they're thinking about it, the way their mind is interpreting it. So being outside is safe. It's okay. There aren't too many people around. It's calm. It's comfortable. It's the way they're thinking about it. Versus being inside, it's still safe. It's still calm. It's still comfortable. There's even people there who might give you a hug, be nurturing, be saying loving things to you. So maybe even more safe if you feel like you're in a tribe of supportive people. So it's all about the way that you're thinking about it. And how do you shift your thoughts? You shift your thoughts by noticing your thoughts, becoming aware of your thoughts. And when you become aware of those thoughts, then you can counter those thoughts. And by countering those thoughts, you can reinforce them by saying things like, I love to be in a crowd. I enjoy it. I enjoy being in a crowd. And there might be a little tweak there of dissonance where it's like, oh, no, that you've had anxiety when you've been in the crowd. So that's where you begin to understand and embrace that sensation that has come in the past and say to yourself, it's okay if I go into a crowd and I feel that sensation, that it's completely safe, that it's fine for me to have that sensation. It's just extra protection. It's just the porcupine realizing that the spikes coming out are actually protecting porcupine. They're not needles sticking into porcupine. That's really what's going on there. So that's what I'm wanting you to think about today and talking about today, is just the way that the thinking is the first step, the thinking, and then the speaking, and then the acting. So think about things that have been a trigger and reframe them, give them a new spin. Even if you need to pretend like you're an actor, even if you need to pretend like you're somebody else, even if you need to pretend like you're Wonder Woman or Spider-Man or something. Why do we have these superheroes? Pretend like you're Jesus, pretend like you're Buddha. How would these great spiritual leaders and incarnations be handling this situation? How would their nervous systems be responding? And pretend, make believe, as I've said in other videos, you make the belief happen. And over time, that belief becomes the reality, especially when you take action, especially when you show your unconscious mind that you can do something. You go and drive, you sit. A lot of people will, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but there's a stuck place, a block on the recovery journey for many, where they think, and I myself was like this too, that if they go and do something like that, they go beyond. For me, sitting was a big one. Sitting right now, but there was a time where sitting for 20, 30 seconds would elicit from my mind a huge wave of pain that was so intense that they even said, the researchers said it felt like an amputation. And I agree, it was very intense, almost unbearably intense. And how did I move beyond that? I did it. I sat there and I brought my mind into a place where I would go and sit. I would just make it my mission to go and sit until it became just so routine. And randomly I would do it because I wanted the random reinforcement idea. But doing that over and over and over, and allowing the sensations to hang out with me, and even acknowledging them and say, wow, you're really interesting. I used to have sensations on one side of my body, and then driving, when I went back to driving after being bedbound and after not driving for a year or two, then I would then the sensations would pop up on the other side. And I would laugh and say, hey, there you are. That's interesting. Your brain, mind, you're really trying to keep me safe here. But I'm safe, I'm good. Let the wave rise and then fall back to baseline. This is the path, friends. This is the way forward. So from this video, what have you learned? Give me some comments. Give me some feedback as to my presentation of these ideas. Do you have metaphors? Do you have stories from your own life? I'm really seeing you move through the phases that I move through, where your thinking is becoming a thinking of everything is possible. Everything is possible for me. I can go out to eat. I can go for a walk. I can jump in the ocean. I can go surfing. I can go skiing. I can do whatever. I always love it when I see clients move beyond the jungle, the rainforest of weeping and despair and negativity, back to life. And then they're skiing, they're out on the water, they're doing all these amazing things again. And then the joy comes in. And with the joy comes in, and then the realization, I'm actually doing this. This is working for me. I'm actually living my life and I'm feeling better. My mind is focused on maybe going snorkeling on a reef, or returning to work and working on some really interesting project. There's so many ways that I see my clients going back to life. And I love that. I love it. Going out to concerts, just you name it. So that's where I see you headed. And if you want to have me walk with you one-on-one with some coaching, head over to healingwolfcoaching.com. I've got a free strategy consult call that you can book. Pretty easy to book. It's an automated system. And then you'll show up on my calendar and we can chat and make a plan to move forward. I've got a number of different options, and I'm going to help you accelerate through these phases and a lot of these things that I'm talking about in my videos. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for being a part of this. Please drop me a comment, subscribe, follow, and have a very magical weekend. Bring something into your life that hasn't been there for a while, and really feel it, really enjoy it. Get into it and smile and laugh and continue on your heroic journey of recovery. I'll see you next time.